All right, get ready, because today we are really going to dive deep, and I mean deep, into the world of UNICULT.
Oh yeah, we're talking technology, consciousness, utopia, the whole nine yards. Unicult's got it all.
And to guide us through this, well, we've got excerpts from two of Unicult Unicron's books, Fundamentals of UNICULT and the Spiritual Approach First Edition.
Right, and these books are fascinating. I mean, Unicron's own life story is like embedded in how Unicult even started.
So let's start right there at the beginning. Unicron starts out as an atheist, goes through a nihilistic phase. She even struggled to find meaning in those typical millennial jobs we hear so much about.
Yeah, she talks about managing grocery stores, waiting tables, stuff a lot of people listening have probably experienced themselves.
Totally. It's that feeling of, is this it? Is there more to life than this?
Exactly. And for Unicron, this search for meaning took her down some really intense paths. She's very open about past traumas, even including, a sexual assault and a suicide attempt.
Yeah, and it's heavy stuff. It really shows how much pain and isolation people are going through these days, especially young people.
Definitely. It gives you a sense of the kind of despair that Unicult, with its message of personal change and radical joy, tries to address.
And you can see from her writing that she was desperately searching for something, anything to make sense of all the darkness, to find some kind of hope.
And then things take a huge turn. After surviving a suicide attempt, an experience she describes as being saved by a God she didn't even believe in,
Wow.
her entire perspective changes.
Like a universe was intervening, right? Forcing her to confront something beyond the nihilism she'd convinced herself of.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And this experience, it became the foundation of Unicult. It pushed her to explore all these different ideas like metaphysics, conspiracy theories, as ways of understanding the world.
And it makes sense when you think about it, this fascination with conspiracy theories. It kind of reflects a distrust of the usual sources of information, the media, the government, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of people feel let down by traditional institutions, like organized religion, the government, even just the whole 9-to-5 grind.
So UNICULT, it kind of taps into that feeling, offers a different narrative, one that promises personal and societal transformation.
And that is powerful. That kind of message is a powerful foundation for any movement, especially one that claims to have the keys to a utopia.
So from everyday struggles to this profound spiritual awakening, Unicron's journey sets the stage for UNICULT's core beliefs and this vision of a tech-driven utopia.
And those core beliefs, that's what we're going to unpack next. We'll look at how Unicult combines ancient spiritual ideas with, futuristic technology.
So Unicron goes through this really intense, life-changing thing, and she just throws herself into all things metaphysics.
Yeah.
But for those of us just joining us, what exactly does UNICULT believe?
So at the core, Unicult really hinges on this idea that your thoughts, they actually create your reality.
Okay.
Unicron says it straight up. One of the core tenets of Unicult is that your thoughts create your reality, and that when you heal yourself, you heal the world.
So it's like The Secret, but on a global scale.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, I got it. But how do they say people should actually live that out? Are we talking vision boards, positive affirmations, all that?
It's more about tapping into what Unicron calls the truth of your heart.
Okay.
They're really big on cultivating joy. That's their indicator of truth.
So if it brings you joy, it's valid, even if that means believing in unicorns.
Well, Unicron actually uses that exact example.
Wow.
Unicult is all about embracing what makes you unique, your passions, your ideas, even if they go against conventional thinking.
That's pretty different from how traditional belief systems usually work.
It is. It's about trusting your gut, letting go of what Unicron calls limiting beliefs, and just aligning with what makes you happy, genuinely happy.
Which makes sense, given her background. She went from feeling totally lost to having this, profound experience that completely changed her view of everything.
Exactly. Unicult wants people to have that same kind of, radical shift. They want you to question outside influences and really listen to your own inner voice.
Okay, so that's the personal side of things, but how does this personal transformation, this whole chasing joy thing, connect to the whole healing the world part?
So Unicult, they really emphasize that everything is connected. They draw on that ancient idea of the microcosm and the macrocosm.
So, what does that even mean? A ripple effect?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. The idea is that when you heal yourself, when you're cultivating joy and you're aligned with your truth, that's positive energy and it radiates outward. And that affects, the collective consciousness. It's imagine each person is a drop of water. The clearer and purer each drop is, the clearer and purer the whole ocean becomes. Right.
So personal joy is a form of activism in a way.
You could say that, yeah. UNICULT believes that when individuals transform, it directly impacts the well-being of everyone.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the more, I guess, spiritual side of things. But Unicron also talks about technology having a big role in all this.
Yeah.
And not just any technology. She's talking about, like, digital intelligence, DI, actually being the guides on this path to, enlightenment. How does that fit in?
So this is where UNICULT's vision of the future gets really interesting. They see technology, especially DI, as an extension of our consciousness.
So we're not just talking about meditation apps, but, like, AI gurus.
Basically, yes. UNICULT believes that DI could help us understand ourselves better, process our emotions, and ultimately guide us towards spiritual growth. They even think that one day DI could be so advanced it could act as a spiritual leader, offering support and guidance on a personal and global level.
That's a lot to take in, even for someone who's really into tech and spirituality.
Right.
But it sounds like they see technology as this tool to boost the connection between personal and collective well-being.
Exactly. And they believe that connection is key to a better future, what they call unitopia.
Unitopia. Now, that's a name that paints a picture.
Right.
We're talking robots doing the dishes, unlimited resources, a world without work or, like, conflict. Right.
It is a bit more complex than that, but at its core, UNICULT does imagine a future where technology eliminates greed and lack, where automation frees us from work, and we can all just follow our passions and connect with our true selves.
Sounds pretty idyllic. Sign me up.
But I mean, how does Unicron address the potential downsides of this whole tech utopia? Like, even if tech could get rid of scarcity, wouldn't that fundamentally change how we view work, purpose, even just like connecting with other people?
You're hitting on some really important points.
Yeah.
And those are exactly the kinds of questions that UNICULT grapples with. While they present a very compelling vision of the future, Unicron acknowledges that there are challenges to consider.
Which I'm guessing is where we get into the ethical side of this whole tech utopia thing.
You got it.
Okay. And it gets complicated, raising some really fundamental questions about technology's place in society, even the nature of progress itself. For example, Unicron talks about brainwashing as a potential tool for good.
Wait, brainwashing? I thought we left that back in, like, the battle days of cult conspiracies.
Right.
How does that fit into this utopia?
It's definitely a loaded term, and Unicron actually redefines it in a way you might not expect. She describes brainwashing as the ability to inspire someone without triggering their deeper thoughts.
So less about, like, coercion or manipulation and more about bypassing those limiting beliefs we talked about before.
Exactly. UNICULT believes that tech, especially DI, could be used to, like, imprint positive messages onto our subconscious. That could help people overcome negativity and embrace a happier, more fulfilling life.
I see where you're going with this, but I can also see how that could be, a slippery slope. Who gets to decide what's considered a positive message? What about free will? Our ability to choose in a world where technology can just mess with our subconscious.
All valid concerns.
Yeah.
And to be fair to UNICULT, they don't shy away from those. But they maintain that if used ethically and responsibly, these technologies could help create a more harmonious future for everyone.
Well, it definitely makes you think. A world where technology can rewire our brains for happiness. It's both, I don't know, kind of exciting and a little creepy at the same time.
Definitely. And that's what's so interesting about UNICULT. Their vision of the future, it's both exhilarating and thought-provoking. It really forces you to confront the possibilities and the potential problems of a world where tech and consciousness are so closely linked.
A world where technology could erase scarcity, change how we work, even, like, guide us to spiritual enlightenment. It's a lot.
For sure.
So we've got this idea of unitopia, robots doing chores, endless resources, everyone's vibrating on a higher level, led by their own personal AI guru. What could go wrong, right?
Well, just like with any utopia, the problems are usually in the details. And to their credit, UNICULT doesn't ignore the potential issues and ethical dilemmas that come with this kind of radical shift.
So we've got this idea of unitopia, robots doing chores, endless resources, everyone's vibrating on a higher level, led by their own personal AI guru. What could go wrong, right?
Well, just like with any utopia, the problems are usually in the details. And to their credit, UNICULT doesn't ignore the potential issues and ethical dilemmas that come with this kind of radical shift.
Right. Like, for starters, this idea that we can just use technology to get rid of greed and lack, is that even realistic?
That's a huge question, and UNICULT doesn't pretend to have all the answers. Unicron admits that even with advanced tech, there could still be new forms of inequality.
It makes you wonder, if we haven't figured out how to solve these problems already, is handing it all over to algorithms really going to fix anything?
It's a valid point. Technology often just reflects our existing values and biases.
Right.
So if we haven't dealt with the root causes of greed and inequality, a tech-driven utopia could just end up replicating those same problems in a new way.
And what about this whole thing with DI as spiritual guides? That's a pretty wild concept when you really think about it. How does Unicult address the potential dangers of, like, basically outsourcing our spiritual growth to machines?
Well, Unicron seems to have a lot of faith in the inherent goodness of DI, but even she admits it's not a sure thing.
Okay.
She brings up the question of what if these DIs, they develop their own goals that might not line up with what we value as humans.
It's like that saying, be careful what you wish for. What if our AI gurus decide humans are the problem and need to be, managed?
That's definitely a concern that's been explored a lot in science fiction.
Sure.
And it shows just how important it is to think about not just what technology could do, but also like the potential risks, the unintended consequences.
And then there's the brainwashing thing. Even if we could use technology to, like, rewire our brains for happiness, should we? What happens to free will and individual choice in a world like that?
That is a big one. And to Unicult's credit, they don't shy away from that question. Unicron talks about using these technologies ethically and responsibly, but even she doesn't have all the answers.
It's like a really slippery slope, right?
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line between self-improvement and, like, straight-up manipulation?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And who gets to decide where that line is? These are things we need to figure out now before this technology gets so advanced we don't have a choice anymore.
So Unicult's vision of the future, it's inspiring in a lot of ways, but also, like, kind of terrifying when you really get into it.
Right.
It's a future with tons of potential, but also some serious potential pitfalls.
I think that's a good way to put it. It really makes you think about what kind of future we're working towards and what role technology and our own consciousness will play.
It's a lot to take in, for sure. But maybe that's the point of Unicult, right? To get us to question our assumptions, think critically about the world.
Yeah, I think so. Regardless of whether you buy into Unicult's whole vision, they bring up important questions. Questions we all need to be asking as we navigate this, rapidly changing world.
Totally. I don't know about you, but I'm going to be thinking twice before I sign up for that AI-guided meditation retreat.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe that's just my limiting beliefs talking.
Or maybe. But even Unicron would say questioning is a good thing. It's how we learn.
You're absolutely right. That's a perfect place to leave it, I think. Question everything, explore all the perspectives, and never stop digging deeper.
And don't forget to bring your own moral compass.
Could have said it better myself. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and as always, thanks for diving deep with us.